from Hylissang, looking for the stun with the Fury to the north. Now Elyoya is having to get away from Hansama, who dashes across the wall and has already got the kill. Nisqy dying off towards the top side as well. Hansama's going to get 2 out of this, and Nisqy's fallen as well. It's superb for G2.
Getting on flash. Nice. Look better. I TP.
I'm tanky, okay? I'm tanky.
Just target, just hit.
Okay, play with Jinx.
I go.
Only Jinx.
Look, I go Jerry. Look
Only
better.
Jinx, only Jinx. Okay, Jinx carries this.
Let me hit them all, Carzzy.
Let's go!
Nice, guys. Good job.
As Mad Lions find 5, and they will take themselves to match point.
The hug was so cute to see, and I think overall, Mad Lions must be thinking, yeah, how about them apples? Because all of you are saying that we didn't even deserve to be here. We definitely don't deserve to go to MSI. In fact, we don't have a chance in hell of beating G2, but it's Mad that is on match point, and G2 who's left to pick up the pieces for now.
No, Mad Lions is playing well. I feel like they're fighting together. They're on the same screen and they're finding ways to connect. I feel like always Mad Lions, when they're doing well, it's when Elyoya and Hylissang finding ways to fight together, and the rest are just doing the job in terms of performing mechanically, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Helion playmakers, Elyoya on the Sejuani. I love it.
Because I asked you before, or in the break rather, who is it that's standing out? Is there an asset we can prepare? And all 3 of you said it's more about how the team is playing together than any individual outlier.
Yeah, I really feel like a lot of it comes down to the map movement and the setup you decide to take before you go into some of these fights. For G2 more specifically, the one they just had at Raptors we saw earlier, where they send BrokenBlade down to pick up extra waves. In the grand scheme of things, these waves down towards the bottom side when there's not even an outer turret standing doesn't actually mean a lot when you're taking a 4 versus 5. Just getting the kills and the XP and the extra camps, the map space and pressure that it buys you from the setup. That's something BDS is really good at doing, for example. We don't see them today, but that's something that some teams could learn from as well. And I feel like we see some of the flaws as well, at least from G2 in this second game, and from Mad Lions for realizing it beforehand when they just send 5 members where they know G2 is going to be.
It seemed like they are the better team here today at playing together, which is surprising because G2 is usually the team when it comes to these things, to sacking waves, being at the right place at the right time. And it seemed like in this game, they were almost always at the wrong place at the wrong time, because in my mind, after the 4-4-0, when BrokenBlade is just up top hitting plates or doing waves, that game should be kind of over. I'm surprised that there was even a game to be played here. And I'm surprised that it was also kind of a stomp towards the end. It felt like they just made mistake after mistake after mistake and never actually, okay guys, we entered this fight, let's settle down, let's play it properly out. It was just 3-4 fights in a row, game over.
Yeah, and Mad Lions, they kept going for it. When you look at key picks of the series, Gragas, Jinx, Kennen is what I heard. And yeah, that Gragas, undeniable, right? They've played it now 3 times.
No, Nisqy on the Gragas is looking mighty gorgeous. I didn't like the top lane Gragas from Chasy too much, but that was just a pivot in the draft. But I feel like in general, when we think about the current meta, I feel like Mad Lions are just better off because they look a lot more comfortable on the Gragas. They have the Jinx in the pocket and the Jace too. When on the other side, G2, they went for the Annie first pick, something that I don't believe they've played throughout the split so far, and something that's banned a lot. So when you're forced to pick it, you have to pick it. Maybe you don't want to play it. Then the Zeri Lulu, we talked about it as well. Mikyx and of course Hansama, this is not something that they've played all split long when it has been super OP for so long. And this is kind of showing that G2 is kind of getting pushed up against the wall in a way where they're kind of playing the meta and are not executing well on it. The question is, how deep does the G2 hat go? Because in the end, you know, what are they going to do coming into this match?
Yeah, I think you put it in a good way backstage when we were talking throughout the game. Jace, Gragas, Jinx, first 3 seems like something that you should just not get on this patch. And in comparison, then G2 gets Annie, Zeri, Lulu. And if you put those 3 champions together and have me guess which team are playing this game, I would never guess G2. Never. This would be almost the last team I would put with those 3 champs. So it just seems like they're maybe panicking a little bit in the draft here. Maybe they were maybe they were surprised by the fact that Annie was up, didn't really know which one to take. They gave the Gragas over again to Nisqy. Not something you want to give to him because he's having so many good games on it now.
Yeah.
Looking back at Winter as well, he had a lot of good games on it. So
Some puzzling choices.
Yep.
We'll see if G2 can right the ship going into this game 4, and if we get silver scrapes, or if it's going to be the Mad Lions kicking G2 out of playoffs. What do you guys think at the desk?
I try not to think, Sjokz. I'll be honest. I let the color casters do the thinking. We had the one moment I thought in this entire cast, I read I read Akshan's tooltip and then forgot half the words, so didn't explain why there might have been a bug, you know? So yeah, you guys, what do you two think?
You stick to shouting. I think G2's back on blue side, so hopefully they change the draft up a bit. Or the thing is, if you have massive confidence if you run something back that's quite similar to that draft.
Yeah.
I think you shouldn't give Mad, Jace, Gragas, Jinx. Done.
Can you make a song?
I did just make a song out of it.
but
I don't think that you should give Mad Lions, Jinx, Jace, or Gragas. Bumpa bumpa. Yeah. Great ad-libs, Medic.
I'll be your hype man.
See, he follows me.
So you could make all
That's
your
what makes
analysis like...
Vedi.
Yeah, no, I know. I was thinking of a way to use, like, you could do this more often, you know? I was thinking in long term, not short term.
Break out into song.
Exactly. Break out drafts into songs or something.
To this beat, go.
To this beat. Hang on, give me a second.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna get banned, need to be removed. I don't know what reminds with removed. I picked a bad word. Now let's see what's next. It's an Olaf ban. Now time to check what next. It's Rakan. Look at him go. It's a big ban.
I've heard all great rappers rhyme a word with the same word.
Yeah.
Kodak. Like if you can rhyme Kodak with Kodak, you can rhyme.
Did he rhyme next with next as well, didn't he?
Shush.
Right.
Anyway, Rakan, Olaf bans. There's the Draven as well, removed by the Mad Lions. So far, Gragas, Jace, and Jinx have not been touched by G2.
Right, so do they get banned away now is the question. Is Annie a ban for Mad Lions? It's a ban for G2. Interesting, so they're going to take that one away. Now, G2, I think, are either looking at... They didn't ban Malphite, so I don't know if they're looking at Jace. Are they looking at Jinx? Are they looking at Kennen? But Jace is open, so if Mad Lions play the game of, well, Jace, we can play Malphite into it, or Gragas. Kennen, we can play Jace into it. We can ban something else. Now, what is that something else? I know it's a Jace, so maybe G2 just have to slam the Kennen here. Mad Lions must have a response for this Kennen.
But isn't it then just going to be a Gragas Jinx response?
Yeah, I presume so, right? But then I'm just wondering what their answer is into Kennen. Because the Gragas didn't look great.
It did not work well. BrokenBlade had a 2,000 gold lead early on in that game. Obviously, it did help that Yike went up there with the Viego to get the first kill, but there's the Kennen. Immediately locked for G2.
I would love a Camille or something, you know? Some kind of like Camille champ or maybe even a Aurelia from Chasy. These are the champions you want to play into Kennen. We saw Akshan into it, didn't look great at all. But yeah, Gragas Jinx, I think you're right, Vedi. I think Gragas Jinx is the no-brainer here. Pick support on 3, keep the Gragas flex for 3 rolls, and then figure it out. I also think Sion's a good pick we haven't seen much of into the Kennen. Chasy's K'Sante's been pretty good throughout playoffs, but I don't know how that matchup goes. Probably not the best for K'Sante in the early stages.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I wonder where G2 will go if the Jinx is locked here. Do you look towards the Zeri once again? Didn't work out too well. Kind of gets beaten by the Jinx later on. If you don't play a Felios as well, which Hansama hasn't brought out in the entirety of Spring, it makes your options a little smaller.
I'm trying to think of other options that they could go for.
Could go back to the Varus if you really wanted.
I think they need to follow up. They need to engage, but blinding Nautilus here just sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you just get roamed.
I think some kind of a Phelios lane would be... Oh, we're going Lucian Nami. Oh, Dracos. Dracos is at home. Dracos, close your eyes. Don't watch. Look away.
So it does.
Daniel, turn it off. Rell instantly slams for Hylissang.
Wow. So Mad Lions going for more team fight. Hylissang's Rell as well. I mean, like, Hylissang's obviously had a very long career and he has many champions that you associate with him, but this was one of those picks last split that we saw that when it felt like that the support pool was so limited, he brought this out of nowhere, completely unexpected, and had such a huge impact in the game. He's looking to repeat that same performance here today. Only 1 win away from moving on to face Vitality tomorrow. Last split, remember, Mad Lions did make the gauntlet run all the way to the finals. But now we see the second row of bans. G2 starting to attack the jungle. Lee Sin has been a big pick for Elyoya. You imagine Wukong looking to be removed up next.
Jarvan. I wonder if Yike's gonna play it. When you're playing up against Jinx, there's no Thresh available.
Gragas is kind of annoying for Jarvan though.
Yeah, a little bit, but I do think a Jarvan ban from here, from Mad, wouldn't hurt any form of hard engage, so yeah, the Jinx has a little bit more space to work with. They've gone for Viego, so we'll see what Yike opts into. The Bell, that's still open, but I think engage.
Were they afraid of Malphite mid?
They were, yeah.
I mean, Cass brought it up.
There's no Sylas ban or anything, just we're scared of Malphite blind. Please don't make it.
Yeah. So where will G2 look with their junglers? At the moment, it's probably jungle pick here for Mad Lions, save top for last. G2 could go to the Maokai if they want. That's hard engage for the Jinx.
I still wonder what their response to Kennen is. I actually think it was... What is their response to Kennen? Because they picked the Gragas. The Wukong is like a no shock to anyone, really, is it? They could go Sejuani here, G2. They could go Jarvan. I don't think there's an issue for jungle. I just wonder, because I think this Gragas will go mid for Nisqy, depending on the matchup, unless there's a Sylas blind. And then are we getting an Aurelia? Are we getting a Jarvan top from Chasy? Are we just getting a Gragas mid and a roaming mage for Nisqy?
I mean, that's the beauty of this Gragas for Mad.
I am Maokai.
Maokai.
No! No! It's Nocturne mid for Caps!
Mickey was there! Mickey was looking me in the eye when I got locked in!
Take your headset off, mate. We're good for the next like 5 minutes.
Vedi, do you want to solo cast this, Vedi?
Oh my word! But Nocturne mid sucks! Like, it's so bad!
Or, let me raise you, it could be Nocturne top.
But that's also bad.
Yeah, because it could be Kennen mid.
The reason why, like, it's bad is because, I mean...
Ahri's good pick, I think.
But the reason why it's so bad is because they made this nerf to his passive, which, like, it sucks at wave clear now. The biggest strength of Nocturne in the past and why you could play him in a solo lane was because of how easy it was to get prio in a lane. You just Q, passive, and you just clear out the wave.
Right.
But now it's so much weaker.
I've got one point that I'll raise you.
Yeah.
Kennen. Nocturne ult, Kennen.
I mean, sure.
Right, I think that's the idea. Maokai ult, Kennen, flank,
away.
Nocturne turns the lights off. I think the Nocturne lane phase is going to suck. The Nocturne 2v2s...
Was it Doinby? There was someone
it was
in really
LNG.
LPL.
It was LNG, Arla, and Doinby.
Yes.
At Worlds 21, I
where
think.
they would just pick Nocturne mid, and it was Nocturne mid Kennen.
All right, before you guys can dive down the Nocturne mid when it happened in history line, but I have to remind everyone, Mad Lions 1 win away from playing up against Vitality tomorrow. Winner of that plays against BDS for the title. If G2 are knocked out here, they will still be our second MSI seed because they won the winter split. But they are trying to stop that from happening by locking in Nocturne mid.
It was
for Caps.
It was Doinby and Arle in the LPL regional finals. It was in the LPL playoffs of last year. It was Doinby, Arle, it was Kennen, Nocturne, and it worked for them. Everyone banded against them, and then G2, I do believe, started playing it, or teams in Europe started playing it.
Yeah.
And it was played at Worlds a little bit. So let's see if they can reenact.
Well, I am excited. We're about to jump into Game 4 between G2 and Mad, so let's get on to the Rift.
So, you know what I've learned about G2 in this series? When they're making their food and they're cooking, and they've got a nice soup and they've added all these ingredients, and it tastes bad, they don't throw the soup away. You know, even on match point, they just add more ingredients to make it taste better. So now we've got a Nocturne mid. Not sure how I feel about Lucian Nami.
I can tell you how they feel about it. 1 and 2. 33% win rate across the course of this split. Nocturne mid for Caps, so I'll have to look up those stats.
The Mad chants are louder than the G2 chants. I don't think I've ever experienced that before in the LEC.
Wow. A lot of fans rallying behind the Mad Lions.
Oh, Vedi, he has played it before.
Yeah, I know Caps has played it before.
He lost.
I know.
Against Fnatic.
Quick stats.
Yeah.
Yike,
look at something. Yike goes in. Chasy's going to knock him up. BrokenBlade.
He's going to die.
Electric surges forward. Chasy on the chase. Yike does get a double knockback here.
How long
able to
Gragas
survive for the moment with a flash forward from Elyoya. Crushing blow, finds his mark. One more auto would be enough. Chasy finds him with a belly bomb. Nisqy coming in for the flank position here, and Hylissang has worked his way up from the bot lane as well to make sure that Elyoya and Chasy can get out alive. They will survive. First blood over to Mad.
That was so greedy by Yike. He wanted to ward the red, but yeah, Chasy's just standing in the bush. That was really easy for Mad Lions. Elyoya should be able to do red with smites, surely, right?
Wait, but
nope,
I don't
he's
think
gonna
he
base.
can.
He's a bit scared.
Yeah.
Not sure if he can execute.
Well, that's some good news, at least, for Yike. Oh, hang on a second. Chasy is very low. Oh, nice body slam there.
I mean, he doesn't have flash as well, so BrokenBlade can just force him out of this lane. Chasy will have to TP back in.
Of course, we have seen this matchup from game 1. BrokenBlade built up a huge advantage.
Knock up onto Hunsummer. Shouldn't be too much more. No stun for the follow-up. There's the heal. Carzzy taking a bit of damage as Hunsummer and Mickey can trade back in. Hilly using the shield from the Ferromant. See that? But the healing from Mickey's ebb and flow means that Hunsummer's pretty topped up. Another knock-up coming in as Carzzy looks for a little bit more. The ignite is cleansed away. Hylissang now does still have the flash and can walk out of this one. But in the end, you get the cleanse out of Hunsummer, you get the heal out of Mickey for only your ignite, and health bars perhaps slightly on G2's side.
Hilly, level 2. After clearing that ward up in the topside river, giving him that slight experience advantage. Didn't result in a huge advantage game for Mad Lions in the bot lane, but wow, a lot of skirmishing happening. Mad Lions find themselves in the early lead already. If you could bring up the runes for me, Medic, let's talk a little bit about Nocturne. Why would we not, gentlemen? Lethal Tempo is a really great rune on Nocturne. His base stats are incredibly high, largely thanks to his Q. At max level, you get, I believe, 60 additional AD just from sitting on top of the Duskbringer, which makes the attack speed just so valuable on him. Very curious as to what build Caps goes, because the Stridebreaker build from old is so much weaker than it used to be. He really doesn't have the same damage that he have, nor does he have the same wave clear. And already you can see Nisqy pushing him underneath, underneath that tower. Yike is able to secure the blue buff, stares down Elyoya, walks away with the objective, has the support of his bot lane as well. And at the very least, Yike is definitely not put too far behind.
Yeah, quite risky from him to go for that blue buff, but of course he knew Elyoya was a little bit behind on his clear because of the level 1 and then he had bot push, so manages to take away at least a camp despite not having that flash. Elyoya is going to look for Caps. Nice spell shield on the charm. He's going to look for a double crab here.
Should be able to get it as well. No real way of Yike getting up there in time, especially with Elyoya still having the smite. Blue buff's up as well on this top side, so Yike can just go for the clear. Should be able to secure his top side camp. So in the end, Elyoya loses a blue. And she's going to step in here and maybe try and steal this away. Pops the Scry's Bloom back. Could be looking for that top gank, or could just be trying to get rid of some of this vision to make BrokenBlade a little bit more nervous. The Wukong could come for a gank.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Just kind of get some information taken away to free up Chasy a bit more. And Cap's not doing too bad in this lane. Looks like CS is even-ish for now. Nisqy should be able to pick up a lot more looking at that wave, but it's managing to get the waves pushed out, which is important. I think these comps are very level 6 heavy. Kennen, Nocturne, Ahri, Wukong. Maybe it might be a bit slow in the early stages unless Hylissang decides to do some Hylissang things in bot lane.
For sure, big wave stacked up top gives Chasy room to move into the enemy jungle alongside Elyoya. Bot lane seems to be going in favor of Hans Sama in terms of the push, along with Caps in mid. Yike smites away the Gromp, means that he can get away to safety. And G2 have actually managed to claw back the early game lead a little bit. A lot of that coming down into the bot lane difference. Hans Sama and Mikyx trading very well. This is the idea behind that Lucian Nami, giving you a lot more agency and control in the early 2 versus 2.
Really spikes at the first item as well, especially if you can get Mandate early on the Nami. Just gives you so much more damage from the Lucian. His passive, whenever you have an effect applied to you by an ally, your next autos do extra magic damage, so it can work out really effectively.
So another fun Nocturne fact.
Okay, hit me.
Really difficult to push out awkward waves. If we can actually observers have a quick look at mid, you'll notice that Nisqy has the wave set up in a really nice spot. The problem with Nocturne is that because you have to commit to melee and you need enough points in your queue to be able to count the casters, that it's very often that you can find yourself frozen on.
Chasy has flash back up. There's the slicing motion for the stun. Chasy not going to burn the flash yet. Gets the body slam back. Elyoya's on his way up, and the flash away from the shuriken will get Chasy to safety. Now, BrokenBlade still has a flash of his own. Elyoya could look for something, but probably just wants to push out this wave with Chasy, make sure that BrokenBlade can't freeze it. Oh, Chasy leveled up as they went forward. BrokenBlade pulled back. The flash away gets him back to his tower.
Oh, at least Mad are able to get themselves, hang on.
That's trading unspeakable horror for the fear. Dodges away from the charm as well as Yike can look down towards this bottom side. Hylissang chunked down to about 300 HP. Caps in the mid lane, surviving, but does take half of Nisqy's HP.
Close to 6.
Bubble lands. Flame Chompers there onto Hans Sama. And Hylissang just lands the Q for a little bit of healing.
Yike's coming down though, so it's a bit of a precarious situation for the bot lane of Mad Lions. Looks like they're going to turn this advantage in bot side to a dragon. First one of the game will be picked up just around the 7-minute mark. A lot of bases coming in for Mad, 4-man running out of base. You can see Cap's got a pretty good trade onto Nisqy there. If he can get uptime and get the lethal tempo stacked up, he can start shredding through this Ahri's health bar. He has access to that ultimate now. It's got quite a long cooldown at level 1, so he needs to be very aware as to how he decides to use it. Yike will get that dragon.
That's a flash.
Is it though?
Oh, is it? With Mikyx coming across.
Onto Elyoya.
Hylissang's on his way as well. Yike should be able to walk away from this one. Doesn't have to burn the flash because of the assistance of Mikyx. Will lose the Scuttle Crab, but takes the larger of those 2 neutral objectives in the bot side river.
Yeah, Herald's the next focus, I think, for either of these teams. BrokenBlade still trading on Chasy quite hard. No flash on Chasy yet still. Ultimate not up for BrokenBlade.
Do you want to talk about Nocturne mid more, Vedi?
I do. Do you want to know more fun facts?
Hit me.
So, some people believe for a long time that if you ulti into then R,
Where R is the ulti.
Sorry. You ulti into then Q while you're flying with the ulti.
Yeah.
That your R will do more damage.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
No.
The amount of damage that your R does is determined at the initial cast,
Point of origin,
which
yeah.
means that you need to cast Q first if you want it to do additional damage, which is completely pointless.
Yeah. I think it speaks to how long we've cast together that I knew that fact. Did you also know if his W is proc, the Shroud of Darkness, he gets more attack speed?
He does,
Yeah.
but unlike certain other champions where if that thing is on cooldown, they lose the attack speed, Nocturne doesn't.
Yep.
So that means when killing dragons in particular, if you can use Spell Shield on Dragon's auto attack, which means that you can use it to get more attack speed.
I knew that one too. So Carzzy's going to get a plate here on the bot side. Looks like G2's bot lane just took a base. Herald is up, so Hilly's moving his way up the river. Not that close to level 6 just yet, about halfway there. Nisqy's a bit low under tower, and Cap still has access to that ultimate. Maybe Hilly's looking to gank the Nocturne, but right now he's out of the lane. So Nisqy will take that advantage and try to push in. 4v4 on this top side, looking likely. Carzzy's on his way up as well. Hilly demats the cannon minion, gets himself over the threshold for his relic shield to level up. As it does, it places the ward across the wall, gives Mad Lions just a little bit more security in starting this herald if they want it. For the moment though, they'll hold off. Yeah, so they don't really want to start it yet because Nisqy's quite low. They're afraid of giving... The thing is, against the Nocturne, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Vedius, but if you can... especially also with Nocturne jungle, if you can avoid the first ultimate and make it an even play or even get an advantage situation where the Nocturne ults in and dies or something, that's game-changing. The Nocturne just falls off so much and his power only really comes back about an item later.
I mean, a lot of it depends on the build that Caps chooses to go, but you're right. It looks like that he is going to go for the Stridebreaker build. Yeah, he's definitely going to go for the Stridebreaker build. So you're definitely right. His strongest spike is around the mid-game, first item. Later on into the game, his ultimate cooldown will be very low, but then you're very reliant on your synergy with BrokenBlade. The objective is being started up here by the Mad Lions. We can see Nami has moved up from the bot lane, looking to try and get level 6.
And Paranoia can come across. Mikyx just hits level 6. There's the Nature's Grasp. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Summer's going to try and trade into Carzzy. Rift Tail down to 1,500 HP. The Nature's Grasp is hit on the back line. As Hylissang is forced away. It's smited, secured by G2. Carzzy and Summer trading down here. But Summer wins out that. G2 winning across the map. They get the Rift Tail. They get a kill. BrokenBlade looking for a little bit more damage across the wall. Hylissang can flash Magnet Storm, but they decide against it as Mad Lions disengage. Oh, PB had flash there. He had a nice ultimate setup off of Vision as well. Mad Lions come away with nothing. They lose the bot fight. They've lost the Herald now as well. They're all just going to have to reset. Why is Carzzy contesting that bot wave? Maybe he thought Hans wasn't around, but easy punish for the Lucian. Wins out on that 1v1 every single time on an even item situation at this point in the game. And Mad Lions come away with nothing. Almost a over 1,000 gold deficit now.
Plate gained mid, plate gained bot, Herald gained, kill gained.
Gale Force.
You look across the board, and that was a lot of gold gained by G2, and more to come. Caps, though, is in danger here. Nisqy's in kill range.
As the charm dodged. Don't even need the Shroud of Darkness. Unspeakable Horror will get the fear onto Nisqy, who uses his Spirit Rush charges. They were going to expire anyway. Might as well use them to try and get a bit more damage down onto Caps.
I mean, props to Caps. That was a clean sidestep. He really just kind of made fun of Nisqy there. Caps, of course, does have the TP, so he should be able to return to lane. He may very well lose that plate, but now Hylissang and Elyoya doing what they often do, grouping up, moving into the bot side jungle, and they found Mikyx.
Mikyx still has the Tidal Wave, and all summoners available for the G2 bot lane means that would be a very precarious dive if you did go for it. Elyoya chunked out as well. Summer already with the Gale Force doing quite a lot of DPS, and this is the power of Lucian and Nami. You know, if you can get towards those first spikes, your trading and your skirmishing is just that much stronger than someone like a Jinx. The risk always becomes mid to late game team fights. Jinx is a monster in them, and that is what Mad Lions will be looking towards.
One of the best hyper carries in the game, and it's that late game insurance that Mad have been able to rely on up until this point. We'll see if they can rely on it again. The dive from G2 is something that will continue to be lethal as the game continues. Flashless Carzzy is going to be easy pickings to this G2 composition. Flash up for BrokenBlade, Dragon in 3 seconds. TP's not unleashed, not available. Caps finally does get hit by a charm.
Nice chunk. Do they fight this man? I think they might have to call it off. Nisqy's ult isn't up yet. Looks like they're looking for a play through bot. Maybe they can pick off Summer and Mikyx going back this wave, thinking that there's no fight to be had on this bot side. Maybe he could surprise them. Magnet Storm. Elyoya goes in. There's a Cyclone. There's a Magnet Storm. And there's Summer locked up. But he flashes. He cleanses. He gets away. Super Mega Death goes wide. Nature's Grasp being tanked there by Hilly. As Elyoya pops another Cyclone Charm as well from Nisqy. Does still have the flash and the Spirit Rush to get out of this. Mikyx flashes. Aqua Prism short. Paranoia coming out as well.
It's a big ultimate now gone for Caps. But G2 are able to get their AD carry out alive. All of their summoner spells were invested. Mad Lions with a clever play to punish the bot lane that felt confident with Yike starting the Drake. Now, of course, the bright side for G2 is they walk away still with the second Drake. They won't lose any members, and they hold on to their gold lead.
They won't have the ultimate for Nocturne for their Herald drop, though. It's going to time out. It's about 1 quarter left on the timer. They're going to have to drop it towards mid-bot side, you have to imagine. But without that ultimate, they can't really threaten any kind of dive. So they'll get a couple plates for it. Top is winning in isolation still, which is good news for BrokenBlade, despite that kill over to Chasy. Nisqy will get a plate off the back of Caps' base. And G2 kind of still retaining a similar gold lead as they have over the last 10 minutes. But they've got themselves every neutral so far.
But they have 2 dragons to the good. It is Chemsoul. So that dragon stacking not as impactful as it would be if it was an Infernal or a Hextech or something. And I do want to talk a little bit about how these compositions will butt heads as the game goes on. Caps looking for something in the mid lane here, but Charm Shrouded Darkness will block. It feels like the game is still relatively even, you know. 2,000 gold, G2 do have the neutral advantage and are going to get some more gold from these plates. But as we get to 2-3 items, if I look at Mad Lion's composition, I'm just like, team fighting is easier for this comp than for the G2 composition.
I mean, to a degree, yes. I think that their ease of execution is very straightforward when you look at like Rell, Wukong, Ahri, right? A lot of mobility. But conversely, I think mobility really struggles against champions like Kennen. When they are inherently kind of create a short distance between you, that makes life easier for a Kennen. Nocturne's Darkness also makes it harder to synergize that re-engage, and then also Maokai ultimate.
True.
Like, there are a lot of things on the side of G2, along with Nami ultimate. There's just a lot of things that can get annoying, but the pick potential from Mad Lions comp, the mobility overall, like they definitely have a lot of strengths that they can look to leverage. For me, the biggest difference is the AD carries and their impact, and at what point in the game. I think this Jinx can be a real menace if she can just get going.
Nisqy lands the charm onto Caps, doesn't use the spell shield. Strikebreaker for the slow will get the ultimate out of Nisqy.
That's a good trade for
Drops
Caps.
the fear as well. His ult just came back up here, Caps. So if he goes too far here, Nisqy, Caps would think of a turn, but Hilly's in the brush. Needs to be careful if he tries to turn back on this last.
He still has the Shroud here. The charm missed anyway.
So Nisqy just...
Let's see Caps twice. Super Mega Death Rocket, that's not enough.
I don't think he dies.
He's got too much health.
They've also missed.
Yep.
Nisqy did a cool thing there where he popped the W and then he used his charm in the middle, hoping that one of the W Foxfires would actually proc the
Cyclone
Shroud.
being used in the mid lane. There's the Tidal Wave as well. Mikyx locked up with the second Cyclone. Carzzy flashing forward. He wants blood. He wants the kill. Crits onto Hansama. But Elyoya is the first to fall. And now Carzzy cleanses away underneath the tower. Hilly. No flash. Paranoia coming out of Carzzy. Can't see anyone to hit. Yike will kill off Hylissang. And Carzzy still stuck underneath his tower. Almost takes down Hansama. Yike flashes forward. Twisted advance will get a double. Will pay for it with his life.
G2 running away now with this early to mid-game transition, managing to find some kills. Just disrespect in a sense. Elyoya's looking for the kill onto Mikyx because he has no flash, doesn't have the heal either, but he doesn't have the damage, Elyoya, to get that kill. Nice turn from G2. Caps actually got Nisqy's flash off the side there. Forced it out with the Paranoia, level 11 now for him. Next neutral is in 1 minute 20 seconds. He should have access to the next, for the ultimate for the next dragon, but here we see it again. Mikyx no flash. Elyoya thinks, well, we Mikyx get the kill. Carzzy only really gets in one auto attack before he's forced backwards. Even flashes with the Kraken Slayer, thinking maybe that'll finish him, but it doesn't. Hans turns it back on its head.
And you can see those disengage tools that we were talking about earlier, right? How difficult it can be to find those picks. The ultimate was used to mitigate the Ahri's involvement in the fight, but also to create chaos in the skirmish in mid. As you rightly called, Medic, the nearsighted of the Jinx means that which target am I supposed to hit? How much vision do I actually have? And then Nisqy forced to flash away as Yike commits to the kill on Jinx.
I like what Yike did there. Just go back in, trade 1 for 1. Just make sure Hans can't die. He cleansed the slow nicely there, Hans. But just make sure there's no real shenanigans going on where they can get kills on this Jinx. So Herald started up by G2. That'll be the 4th neutral objective going over to them. But with 40 seconds on the Dragon, they're going to have to transition their pressure back down to mid-bot side. The alternative they have here is heralding top straight to a tier 2. But...
Oh, it wouldn't have taken it.
It wouldn't have done damage.
Try every time not to get baited by the observers. They always get me once a day.
Yeah, wouldn't have done damage. I think the biggest thing right now is Hansama. 2 items, Lucian. 17 minutes in with a rapid fire. He is going to absolutely one-shot anyone that walks up. Carzzy no sums either.
Now look at this. G2 dropping the Herald mid. They're creating this point of pressure. BrokenBlade on the flank.
Slicing Maelstrom. Decides not to use it. Hansama rooted for a second. And Elyoya goes in. Has the Cyclone, but Hansama able to dash and flash his way away. Yike trying to do some more work here. The Magnustorm's only going to catch on to him. He twisted advances forward, and look at where Carzzy is. Your damage is not with the fight, Mad Lions, and because of that, you are wiped away. G2 health bars topped up to the 9s, and Mad Lions lose 3.
I like what G2 did there. They went towards Herald, and the way to flush Mad Lions out of the bot side jungle is just run it down mid with a Herald. Eventually they have to respond. You respond back, push them, and take the fight, and then go back down towards the bot side and take the objective. So another neutral objective in favor of G2. These skirmishes, all in their favor.
How different G2 look from game 3 to game 4. HunSummer with a great trade. Does get locked up underneath the tower in a second. BrokenBlade doesn't overcommit, just chips away at Carzzy. And then when Elyoya commits to the fight, you can see HunSummer in a bit of a dangerous position, but then Carzzy gets rooted up on the backside, almost killed by the Nami ultimate. And you can see how disjointed this fight becomes the second that the paranoia comes down.
See, Yike gets incredibly low, but Caps actually singles out Nisqy on the left side there. Yike eventually does fall, shut down over to Chasy. But yeah, Carzzy can't get involved. BrokenBlade's just standing on top of everyone with the ultimate. And Mad Lions, without summoners, it's so hard for this Jinx to walk up. There's just way too many threats, and now Chasy might be in trouble. He's going to use the E here probably to clear out the wave, but he has Flash.
Hasn't used it yet. BrokenBlade coming in. Flash away. There's the stun. Nature's Grasp will find his man as well. Twisted Advance used, and Yike. 3 across the board.
Caps gets Nisqy's ult again. Charm doesn't land, would have got spell shielded anyway, but now it's a situation where you're on a side lane against a Nocturne, you've lost your Ahri ult. Can you really walk up now? It's really hard to contest the wave as Nisqy's gonna have to sit on his tower and catch it.
If there wasn't a tower, Caps could kill him.
Hilly looking for something, but HunSummer able to dodge away from the Magnet Storm. The culling going through as well, and Hilly is down. Carzzy now having to retreat as the TP comes in. Paranoia used as well. Carzzy, no summoners and no life left. Elyoya pops the clone to get away, but BrokenBlade can still chase further in. Will they use the enhanced cone? They'll get knocked back. A bouncy castle in the jungle, and in the end, it's still a win for G2.
Little game of ping pong there, isn't it? Bot tower might die to the creeps, looks like it will. And I feel like Mad Lions can't step up anywhere. They're contesting mid waves without a tier 2 against the Lucian Nami with 2.5 items. Caps is winning out the side lane, BrokenBlade's winning out the side lane. They don't really have anything to work around here, Mad Lions.
I think the biggest difference this game compared to the others is, number one, HunSummer is completely dominating, right? I think that in terms of the straight-up 2v2, this is the most dominant HunSummer and Mikyx have been. But also, with the TP now on that top lane, it's so much easier for BrokenBlade to get involved in the fights. HunSummer steps up, Hylissang sees a window to punish, HunSummer just walks away very casually as Mikyx lands the bubble and sets up for the kill. But now Carzzy is overextended, he doesn't realize the ward is there, the TP can then come through for Kennen, and this means that G2 can fully commit to the play.
Elyoya runs, Nisqy runs, Blast Cone's helping them out a little bit. BrokenBlade manages to get the kill, but TP being on cooldown shouldn't affect their map state too much. They just have to play for this top side of the map, and well, as I said, look where Mad Lions are. 5-man top. Chasy's TP is coming off cooldown in a second, but they're trying to overload a play here. BrokenBlade no flash if he steps up for this wave. 5-man play into some kind of Nash turn is a way that they could find a way back into this game, but
he is suspicious.
Yeah, so is
he is. He's like, why don't I see anyone on the map?
Don't take the bait.
Wait, there's a ward all the way between the two towers as well, so if anyone from Mad had walked through the lane, they would have been seen coming up here. Yeah, didn't see their exact path, but in the end, BrokenBlade waits long enough for all of Mad to back away.
And of course, Nocturne can ult TP as well. So they can't see where he's coming from, and with BrokenBlade's TP being on cooldown, Caps is going to go towards bottom, push out there. There's a world where they can start Baron, and with that ward, like you highlighted, Medic, between those two towers, if anyone defends this tier 1, Caps is going to go and teleport right behind them. So that should be an easy objective. G2 now playing for Vision. After they've got Vision, I expect them to go towards a Baron start.
I'm trying to steal away the red first. HunSummer secures it. Elyoya looking for something. Hylissang in a good position to jump in here, and you can sense that he wants to do it. Has the flash. Yike goes forward. Nature's Grasp. Elyoya knocked back. The Cyclone coming out as well. Carzzy tries to open up on the tree, but that is a very big oat. HunSummer will kill off Hylissang down towards the bottom side. Paranoia being used as well as Yike takes down Carzzy. And Yike still full HP. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, a 1-for-1 trade occurs just to make sure that Nisqy couldn't TP into the fight.
Caps had had enough. He was tired of Nisqy running away, so he decided to fully commit and trade 1-for-1. No way that Nisqy can now contest this Baron. And G2 find another play. They're just playing around HunSummer so well. They're leveraging his strength. But Mad is still looking to contest. As long as Elyoya is alive, there's a world where they can challenge.
BrokenBlade has ult.
BrokenBlade finds Elyoya, stuns him up. The clone not enough to save his life as BrokenBlade finds the jungler. And now the Baron well and truly secured for G2. Good sidestep as well. The Everfrost still coming out. BrokenBlade just opening up onto Chasy. Explosive cast. Shuriken just wide. So Zhonya's was used with Mega Death Rocket. Does hit BrokenBlade, but he was healed and he was topped up by Mikyx. Hilly tried to get in as well, just thinking maybe he could steal.
Great reaction from Mikyx on the heal there. The summoner saving BrokenBlade. Would have been 800 gold over to Carzzy, but G2 might just keep walking into the G2 meat grinder at this point. That topside jungle is owned by them. So Nisqy looks to push out bot. I think Cap sees a window. Blastcone's on top of him, I presume. Yeah, he does.
Oh, he misses his Q, though.
Yeah, he does. Nisqy was looking top, and then he dashes away. But then he's only got one tick left. Cap's with the ultimate. Charm's on cooldown. Let's go in. Q's probably back up, and then he probably flashes for flash. And then he just trades 1 for 1, yeah. Just go full send.
That felt personal, you know.
Yeah, I will take this kill on the side lane. Whoever dies first,
I've
the other
always
one's
been
the
told
winner,
if you TP behind someone, it's not personal, kid, you know?
4th dragon on the board for G2, and it looks like just as Mad Lions dominated game 3, G2 is looking to do the same. Gentlemen, it looks like we're going to 5 games. It looks like that we will be going all the way between our 2 champions of LEC. And wow, what a series.
Yeah.
Considering that in the last time they met, it was a 3-0 sweep for G2.
Yep. Time before that, it was 2-0 for G2.
It was, it's been a situation where Mad Lions, they've struggled this year against G2.
Caps no flash. He's walking up the wave.
Hilly misses. Caps dodges to the side, goes back in with a paranoid. Now Caps will die here, for sure. The mid lane tower goes down as well. G2 pushing 4 members strong down towards this bottom side. We'll try, though, to open up the inhibitors at least. Carzzy still pushing through mid. Objective bounties are the name of the game here for Mad Lions. They're going to lose an inhibitor tower for it. Carzzy, though, can shred through these towers pretty quickly on the Jinx. Only 1.5 items, though, means his damage a little bit muted for this portion of the game, though. 2 towers do fall for an inhibitor, and 2 towers in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's the classic free farm bot, guys. It's okay, just give it up. Carzzy will get that bonus gold on the objective bounty, excuse me, for Mad Lions, and I mean, he'll get towards his 2nd item, but will he get a 3rd? Are we looking at a flank here, or some kind of just chase down here from G2? They don't have vision.
Yike's on his way as well.
They don't have a blue orb either, but they've got the Scryer's bloom.
Where are you going, Carzzy? How are you going to get out of this one? BrokenBlade comes in, and Carzzy is left to his own devices. BrokenBlade takes him out, and G2 get another kill.
And they have a top wave, so I think they're just going to run it down top now, do the exact same in that lane, look for a top tier 2. Maybe they're going to have to invest in Gragas to clear out the wave, but Mad Lions could also look for a fight.
Blastcone flank. Now, you don't have your AD carry.
5v4 on a flank.
Just do it, man.
Down almost 10k
It's
gold.
a Hilly diff, you know, this is what he loves to do, Caedrel.
He's still flanking. His team ran to base, he ran away to the side to carry on the flank.
Just has to wait 14 more seconds for Carzzy to be back alive, and then
he stopped the base, look for it.
Oh, he stopped
his Hilly!
Oh, no, he spotted him!
No, spotted right, Hilly, run!
BrokenBlade is on the hunt.
It's like
Is it a canter
Splinter
or a
Cell.
gallop as he tries to escape? Bumps the blast. Oh, he's seen on a ward. Caps, man, your former teammate, and you do it
the
like
Blastcone,
this.
though, the tech,
and
tech.
he takes it. Wee! Wee!
Oh, the
Spear
damage.
comes out, Nisqy. Able to use the 3 charges to escape. Hilly's still distracting G2.
Run, Hilly, run!
Oh, Hex Flash. Gets across the wall.
No,
Caps.
that's not gonna
Come
work.
on, Caps.
Let him live. Let him go back to base. So Hilly's flank ended up in their base, as it always does. 3 minutes on the Elder, 2 minutes on the Baron. G2 can't look for a neutral off this. They can start pushing in these lanes, and as much as they're getting these kills and we're having a lot of fun, we are probably going to a game 5 here. Almost certainly. I don't think there's any way Mad Lions can really come back in this one. But G2, they found a formula that worked on blue side, but now Mad Lions are the ones who can go towards that blue side, and everything will get shaken up once again in terms of the draft.
Yeah, there were some concerns from, well, I'd say we had some concerns around the Lucian Nami. How successful would it be?
I had some concerns around the Nocturne mid.
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest here,
I will be honest, kind of irrelevant this game.
Yeah, true.
His main role has been to just keep Nisqy pressured and prevent him from really having any impact, which he's done a good job of. But really, this has been BrokenBlade and Hansama from start to finish. Mikyx does deserve a shout out. His bubbles and his peel, like the heal that he provided for BrokenBlade, the ultimates that he's been able to land to follow up with
the fact
Yike.
he bought a Medjai's, all of these things.
He has a Medjai. He does have a Medjai.
He's had it for a little while, still only 6 stacks on it. Yet to die, and he's still only got 6 stacks.
Yet to die. There's definitely been an AD carry difference this game. But they're likely just waiting for the Baron. A minute and a half, they don't need to be overzealous. As I say that, Hansama.
I mean, Hansama just says half your health with 2 orders, man. What is this champ?
Maybe Lucian Nami's broken.
This is Scrim Lucian.
He's done 10,000
This is the
more
Lucian
damage
we
than
were
Carzzy.
promised. It took weeks, but now we're seeing it.
Wait a second, if you add Chasy, Elyoya, and Carzzy's damage, you get Hansama. Or thereabout. I didn't do the hundreds, I'll be honest. I kind of just guessed from the
roundabout, yeah, roundabout.
17. No, it's about 18, 19,000 versus 18,000.
Let's just say yes. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. Now he's going to add more to that, so I'm sure he'll overtake them soon. Just a little culling here and there. Nice little back massage from the Lucian ult. BrokenBlade's got the flash. He's thinking of getting over this wall. You can see, what is that damage? That's just a QW. Rabadon's picked up 3 items strong, just pushing in all lanes here. G2, I wonder if they're just waiting for a Baron spawn. Unless Mad overstep, they will dive them on this next wave in mid. BrokenBlade's in a great position to just flank them from the right side.
And Baron and Elder slightly asynchronous in terms of their respawn timers, so you have a minute to do the Baron before the Elder comes up. There's the culling, and that's the tank down to a 3rd HP.
Mad have to go soon, though.
Mad can go. G2 don't have the longest range as a composition, so if you can just clear away the minion wave, they do need the Baron really to push in for the win.
But I think that if Mad don't engage on that wave, what will happen is G2 will just go to Nash, and that's gone, and then the next wave becomes even harder. So I think G2 realize, well, we could take this inhib tower, but the only way to lose the game right now is getting 5-man aced under a tower, losing Nash, and then being able to fight Elder. Mad just gonna have to give that one up. I can see Chasy spam pinging Elder Dragon, so they're probably just saying, right, let's give this
up. He's on a ward.
This could be massive for Mad Lions.
He's on a ward. The charm goes wide. The Cyclone is going to hit. The Slice of Massive coming out from BrokenBlade as he flashes forward.
Oh my god.
Cyclone follows up to Mikyx Death Rocket. It's a 1-for-1 in the end, but it could have been so much more for the Mad Lions.
Oh, if they got that kill 30 seconds on the Elder, it could have been a 5v4. They could have just flipped the entire objective. Nisqy's ult would have been back up, I think, round about the time for the Elder spawn as well, so that stings for Mad. That could have been a window. They're going to have to 4v4 it now. TP's available for both solo laners.
I do wonder if Nisqy expected BrokenBlade to react.
Maybe.
Because if he had just aimed it at where he was, he would have landed it. Because BrokenBlade stood still, perfectly still. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, I've dodged. I guess I shall depart then. Able to trade 1-for-1. He has the TP, so does Nisqy though.
Elyoya.
Yeah, super flank again. See what he can do with it. Maybe if they just have, I mean, they have 2 blue orbs. If they cycle blue orbs around 5k, maybe he can steal it. Unless they die mid.
Going forward, Carzzy cleansed there. I think it was bubbled by Mickey across the wall.
Caps knows something's up.
Yeah, he finds Elyoya. Last game, it was him being found on the Annie flank. This time, it's Elyoya being found. Blast cones twice. Actually should be able to get away from this one, but the paranoia will chase him down, and Caps is going to get the fear, and that stays on the clone through it all. Caps chases down Elyoya and takes out the jungler. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Hunsummer's opening up with the culling. Explosive cast knocks him back closer. Carzzy tries to step forward, but he can't even kill the fish. And Mad Lions locked out of their own mid lane. Hunsummer flashes, dashes. Still has the GA, and Yike will tank it. A triple for the Maokai, and a game win, and a game 5 for us.
What a stomp by G2. Mad managed to end the last game in 25 minutes. G2, yes, just 30 minutes, but it's 22 kills to 6. Mad haven't stood a chance for the last 20, and we're going to a game 5. Loser is out. Winner goes on to tomorrow to face up against Vitality.
What a bounce back from G2. We've seen some pretty crazy games today, but game 3, game 4, both were stomps for Mad and G2 respectively. And now it all comes down to this. 5th and final game, Mad Lions found themselves in this exact same position against SK last split. They were able to win out and then make their way forward throughout the lower bracket, while G2 waited for them in the finals, but now G2 must face that same Mad. G2 and Mad both find themselves backed against the wall.
A lot to think about now. G2 have done a lot of cooking in draft, but again, this is a best of 1 now to decide your fates, whether you're out or you're in. G2, of course, are locked for MSI, 1st or 2nd seed regardless, but Mad, I think winning this game, you really want your fate in your own hands, not to watch G2 in, like, you know, just watching them play, having all of these up and down series against Vitality and BDS. You really want to be the ones in control. So yeah, 1 game to decide it all.
Yeah, we're going to hand it over to a short break in a moment. And what a series it has been. I believe our break is ready, so let's get to it.